Alright guys, uh, at last I got my ZX10R. So this is a 2013 and it's a white ZX10R, the latest and to me the best machine in the world right now. Um, so I just want to give some information on the features of this vehicle. I've been researching this vehicle for a while, and we all know that it's a great performer from the Superbike World Championships and all the reviews and the technology on this vehicle. So I want to give a little bit of information. First of all, the design is unbelievable. I mean, when I first saw these colors, I really liked these colors. White looks very aggressive, unbelievable. I mean, probably this is the best looking bike I've ever seen in my life, and it's pretty much had an effect on my decision. Besides all the technology and the power. Um, and Let's start with the engine. As you see, it has a large ram air intake in the front. The air box is, I believe, it's 9 liter. It's a large air box. It's a 998 cubic centimeter engine. It has dual injectors. The first injector is active all the time, and the second injector kicks in higher RPMs to support the power. And the valves are titanium. The camshaft is chromoly. The compression ratio is 13 to 1, and this engine is producing 100 and around 198, let's say 200 horsepower at the crank, without the ram air intake. So with the ram air intake, it's said to be like 210 to 120 horsepower. It's a brutal power. It's unbelievable. And the engine actually has an electronic control unit around somewhere in the airbox, and this engine is actually built to provide some linear power as you're going higher on the RPM. And if you look at the power bands and the curves of the motorcycles, this one has one of the most linear ones, which means that it's very predictable in terms of power delivery. And so you don't have any surprises. No, you don't have peaks and valleys in the power in different RPMs. So it's very linear, it's very reliable, and it's very predictable. It's a great power band this machine has, and the power delivery is unbelievably smooth. As you will see my videos, my bike before this one was a ZX6R, which is a great bike, which is significantly less power than this one, but the power delivery on this bike is unbelievably smooth. When you're making tight turns, when your speed is slow, you don't need to use the clutch on this bike to soften it up. It's like from idle to 14,000, you'll get a excellent smooth power delivery, and it's a huge difference when compared to the ZX6R in that sense. Um, and That's pretty much what I know about the engine, actually. And when we go to the brakes, after the ZX6R, the brakes felt a little less responsive, but they're great brakes still. I mean, it has big discs, and this one doesn't have ABS on it, so it's the regular brakes. But it's Takiko. These are proven systems to be great. Big discs, and rear disc is always a little smaller, and there's only one disc at the rear. The majority of the braking power is in the front at the motorcycles and pretty much all vehicles anyway. And the front fork is a big fork. It's called a big fork. So I believe the interior of the fork is different than the regular ones, and the piston is larger, so it provides a smoother ride. When you're braking, it's more reliable and everything like that. So it's a big fork. It's called big fork suspension, and the rear suspension is actually horizontal, as you will see. The spring is horizontal, so it provides a smooth ride. Believe me, after the ZX6R, it's extremely smooth. I mean, I'm pretty much going over the same bumps and holes when I'm, going to work, So you can feel the difference. It's significantly smoother in terms of ride, and yet it's a racing machine. So you have all the you know racing performance that you will need from it. It has two catalyzers, and the exhaust is actually titanium, and in the exhaust there's a valve that's controlled by the electronic control unit that is helping the torque of the machine at different RPMs. The engine is pretty silent. I mean, the idle sound is unbelievable. It sounds like a truck. It's so beautiful. On higher RPMs, of course, when compared to 600, it's more silent because it's working at a lower RPM, and because of the exhaust. It's actually, when you compare it to the top superbikes in the world right now, it's actually the most silent one in all of them. Um, it has a traction control. The traction control is amazing. When I first got the bike, when I just left the lot, I felt that when I was just releasing the clutch and while I was moving, there was a little bit of shake in the front, and I couldn't understand why. And it just kept on like that for the first couple of rides. And I was just thinking of having it checked when I would take it for the first oil change. And then today I just decided to change the traction control setting. It has three settings. It's a setting for the for circuit, track race, track using, the street using, and wet. So it was actually at the 3 setting, which is the highest intervening wet one. So when I changed it to 2, which is the street mode, that shaking totally gone, and I realized that actually it was intervening when I was leaving the lot because it was at that setting. So now there's no shaking at all. I was just scared that maybe the clutch plate was crooked or something like that, but there's nothing like that. Also, it has 3 power bands. Actually, the traction control works like it's a continuous. The traction control is continuously gauging the speed of the rear wheel and the front wheel, and if there's any slippage, it's a system that lets the minimal slippage, because there has to be some little bit of slippage to get the best performance. And it's a very special system that's designed for track. The power mode, there are 3 power modes: the low, medium, and high. The low power mode is pretty much 60% of the total engine power. I just bought it a couple of weeks ago, so I just rode it a couple of times, and I didn't ride it in the all power modes. Right now I'm riding it on the most powerful mode for the time being. So that's it. The information that you can see in the dashboard, the information display is amazing. It is a beautiful information display, and the tachometer is at the top. It looks beautiful. It's orange and red towards the red line. The information that you can see is amazing. You can see the engine temperature. You can see the ram air intake temperature as well as the engine temperature. Um, you can see miles per gallon, average miles per gallon, the gallons used, all that information. It has an economy light on it that shows, when you're going in economy mode, it will light up and let you know. And you have, of course, the gear indicator. You have the speedometer, and it has a racing mode, so you can change the display to the larger digital numbers show the gear, which is for the track, which is amazing. Then the clock turns into the speedometer. And you have all the information that you need. Probably wouldn't even guess that it would have all these things, but after I purchased it, I looked at the book, and it's really amazing what you can see, and all the information that you can get from this. The 2013, the difference between 13 and 12 model year is this damper, the steering damper. They changed it to an electronic one. Actually, this was developed by Holdings and Kawasaki together. So this, with the electronic control unit, is continuously adjusting the damping power on this by just calculating the acceleration, the speed, traction, and things like that. So it's continuously adjusting that. One great surprise was the mirrors. you can totally see your back. So for people who are used to riding sport bikes, we are used to not seeing our backs, and you will see in my videos that on my ZX10R I had to install a rear view camera to be able to see my back, because that's important for me. On this bike you have continuous visual of your back from both mirrors. It's amazing. So it's really, you don't need any kind of cameras or anything like that. You continuously have that visual from your mirrors. The mirrors are really really good, and I don't think that I'm going to be replacing them with any custom mirrors because they look like they're serving very well. And the rear stoplights are LED bulbs, and the look of the bike is really amazing. The power is amazing. I'm right now at the break-in, so I really didn't have the chance to test it on higher RPMs. I'm just going up to 6,000 right now, but you can feel the power of this thing. It's a real beast. It's a real track machine. It's the best sport bike in the world right now, with its technology and the performance and handling. It's a great bike. I'm really happy that I have this, and I'm planning to keep it for a long time. Thank you so much for watching.